I think the plugin provided by the RethinkDB people for plugging into Elasticsearch is pretty neat, but I like to have a little bit more control over what's being searched and how. So here in my project, I've added a little bit of abstraction. I've created a DB module, and inside of it, I've abstracted away things a little bit. I have kind of a repository, if you will. You can see I have all products, and then I'm also returning products and sales back out as r.tables. That'll make querying just a little bit easier. So to use this thing, I just have to new up a brand new instance, and I just have to pass in the database that we want to use. And I can just say db.allProducts and pass in a callback. And what I'll do is I'll just splash this to the screen so you can see that it works. All right, simple enough. Flipping back over to the console, it probably is not going to be too much of a surprise. I actually do practice these demos. There it is. It works. All right, so we know that our little instance works. We know that we can now have some abstraction. The next thing I might want to do here is I have DB products set up as an r.table. I might want to monitor changes on our products table, and I can do that by saying changes and then .run and passing in the connection. And then once the changes go off, I can roll over each one of them, and can you guess what I might want to do with each changed product? Yep, I want to dump it out to Elasticsearch. So let's then require the Elasticsearch driver here, and I'll connect to it right here at the very top, creating a new Elasticsearch client. Down below, I can just say es.index. This will add a value if it's not there to an index, or it'll overwrite one if it is there. So I'll specify that this time the music is indexed, but the type is product. I'll just separate that from what the river is integrating from the other example. And I'll just set the body to our product. And then I'll just output the response so I can see what happens whenever a change goes off. All right, well, that looks simple enough. I'm just listening for changes, and then I'm going to push it over to Elasticsearch, but I really don't like having this code all in line right here. So let's just cut it and put it into its own function above. And I'll just call this sync search, and I'll paste all the code in. It's just because I'm feeling very OCD about this. Okay, so I'll call it here whenever the product changes. All right, well, let's stop and restart things to make sure everything goes off okay and good. There's Elasticsearch. I can see it started running and it's listening. Excellent. So let's test it out and see if we can actually change a product. And I'll just get number 13, and I'll update it by adding an updated at timestamp. So this will trigger a change that is in the document, and hopefully everything will go off as we'd expect. Okay, let's flip back over to the terminal and rerun our page. And great, look at that. Elasticsearch says request complete. We've added a brand new ID to our music product index. We are good to go. But look at this. In the web interface, I can get document 20 and update it from here. And I can set updated out to r.now, which is the RethinkDB timestamp. And boom, ID 20 goes into Elasticsearch in our music index under type product. Great. Well, speaking of, let's head over to Elasticsearch. It's running on port 9200, and take a look at product 20. And yeah, I'm still storing all of the album information, but I don't really need all that information in there. What I really want is just the name of the album, and I'll call that title here. And then what I also want is just the name of all the tracks combined together, separated by a comma. These are the only things I really want to search on. That makes much more sense. Okay, well now I can just rerun this, and since I'm using the index method, it should just overwrite the product with the ID of 20 inside of Elasticsearch, and it does. Look at that. That worked just right. Oh, but we have a small problem. The title is undefined, but that's okay. Again, we're using index, and it should just roll right over it and replace this document. Okay, so there we go. Let's refresh, and yep, good. Version 5, that's right, and having a look here, that's great. The title is in there, and the tracks are in there as well. Let's do one more. Why not? We'll go and update, let's say, product 25 and see what happens. We'll come over here and scan it inside of Elasticsearch, and yep, that has been changed as well. Well, great. Well, let's go and update all the documents, and I can do that just by dropping update on the entire table, and there it goes. All the documents now have been updated, and they are now synchronized completely into our Elasticsearch index. I like this a little bit better. It's a little bit more manual. However, it is exactly the information I want to go in there as opposed to the entire document. And in addition, I have control over when it goes in and gets integrated. To me, this is a perfect use case for change feeds, integrating with Elasticsearch and keeping a search index up to date.